Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
We should wait a little bit. Well, oh, wow. Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. And we're broadcasting live from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Captain John Regan's in the studio. Welcome, Captain John Regan.
Good morning, Vincent.
and standing next to Captain John Regan is John Statmiller, CEO of Republic Broadcasting Network. He's in the studio with us. And next to him is Lark in Texas. And downstairs in the kitchen is Dr. Richard Allen Miller. And I'll tell you what, this morning there were a whole bunch of us here. We had Grace Thorne. Well, Grace Thorne's still in the kitchen with Mrs. Finelli, and J.C. Cole was here. And Rich Sheben left for the airport. So it was a pretty wild night. You guys were pretty late last night, weren't you?
We were something or other.
Yeah. Well, let's John Regan. Let's swing the microphone over, if you don't mind, to John Statmiller. Let's now. And okay, John, we're switching headphones, and John Statmiller is going to be hopping in the vehicle and traveling back to Round Rock, Texas in a few minutes, but I've asked him if he'd join us. So, John Statmiller, welcome.
I'm sorry, I was in the kitchen. Good morning, Vince. How are you?
Very, very well. Hey, you guys must be worn out.
No, I've been doing expos for 20 years, Vince, and it's a breeze. I'm ready to do one again this week.
Are you serious?
No.
Because everybody I know is absolutely worn out from sitting in seminars, taking notes, writing as fast as they can, meeting with the exhibitors, carrying packages of products they've bought and survival items. It was just
it was a great show.
How would you describe it?
Catching a talk show host off guard. Okay, description.
Yep.
Funny.
Mm-hmm.
Very informative.
Mm-hmm.
Heartwarming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm running out of adjectives. It was a great time. The information. It was a different expo than you've ever done before. And I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Why do you say it was different?
It was different because there was a different feel about it. I mean, look, Vince, there's a lot of fear out there.
Yeah.
People are afraid that government's listening to their conversations. And,
mm-hmm.
Shh, don't tell anybody, but they are.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of fear out there. And people, my talk that I gave centered around choices. I think I named the seminar, I Told You So. But we're starting to self-censor ourselves. The fear factor is starting to creep into people's dialectics, into their souls, into their minds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, I've gone through a transformation this past weekend. I really have. And I'm going to be approaching things a little bit differently from here on out. It's going to be dynamic. The information is still going to flow, but there's going to be a different tone to it.
I'm glad you said that. And as you were saying that, John Statmiller, what came to my mind is something George W. Bush said. You're either with us or you're with the terrorists.
We're on the hunt.
Well, I'm serious. You're either with us or you're not with us. By the way, I can pick up all that sound.
I know. I'm trying to be very quiet, and I wasn't successful.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that, either you're with us and you stand and you say no, when you should say no, you agree when you should agree. You need more?
Just a little bit more.
Okay. All right. How about that?
That's perfect.
Okay. Yeah. And that was one of the things that some people took away. We did a little presentation or a little monologue during the banquet meal about saying no. You just because some clerk says, they need your ID, you just don't have to do that. Yeah. You don't have to comply. Yeah. Passive resistance. I mean, it's not like, there's going to be a shootout. It's just, you may not get your purchases.
Yeah. And there's all sorts of ways that we can use to, and the whole point of this is we're a country. We're deeply in trouble. We're deeply divided. We have instigators and race baiters out there. We've got front groups that are fronted by different organizations promoting hate. Mm-hmm. Then you know me for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Am I a hateful person?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But that doesn't mean I'm a softie either.
Right.
But we have a great country, kind of going downhill fast.
Well, it's because of some defective people who want it to go down. Now, the rest of us who are not defective don't want it to go down, and we're doing our best to keep it from going down. John, I got over the years I've gotten a couple complaints. And when I started broadcasting on a radio station in Springfield, Missouri, this woman called the station and was angry. She said, if that guy, meaning me, doesn't love this country, he should leave it. And I said, and I got this email from her about this. So I wrote this response and I read it on the air. And I said, actually, I love this country. I want them to leave it.
Last night, I had my T-shirt on. What did it say? I love my country. It's my government I fear. You know where that T-shirt came from? Talk show host in Detroit, Michigan by the name of Mark Scott. Mark Scott being an ex-Marine, conservative guy, doing all the stuff that he's supposed to be doing on air, right. But he thought people like me were just absolutely nuts. Mm-hmm. Well, he and I got to be friends because I got to talk with him. And he totally changed his program. And it was kind of strange because he had people like Morris Dees coming on the air. Mm-hmm. And I called into a show one day and I made Morris Dees so angry that he literally took his telephone and threw it up against the wall. And Mr. Scott says, well, I guess we lost our guest. but I, as a caller, was on for about 5 or 10 more minutes. Mm-hmm. And after that, once you break through perception, mm-hmm. you break through those paradigms, mm-hmm. then you can start communicating with each other. And we became fast friends. He's now dead, mm-hmm. rest his soul, but he was another champion for liberty, not just being a conservative. Mm-hmm. And I pay my taxes and I say the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm American, love it or leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, we've got a caller, Jeannie from Missouri. Jeannie, you're on the air with John Stadtmiller, John Regan, and me, Vin Finelli. Welcome.
Good morning, Vincent. I wanted to talk about the
morning.
EXPO.
Okay, well, tell us about the EXPO.
Well, I'm horribly disappointed. I couldn't see and do everything I wanted to do, and I have been to all of them since the one at the old mm-hmm. Sears building in Springfield. I have been to every one, and every one mm-hmm. I've said, this was better than the last one. I mm-hmm. don't know how you can keep that up, but I felt like I was among friends all weekend, It was.
You were.
Yeah.
By the way, Jeannie, did you?
And old friends.
Right, Jeannie. Did you see anybody maybe who came up to you with like overwhelming tears in their eyes? Because people came up to me, and I got more hugs this weekend, than I've ever had in my entire life. People I don't even know, guys, gals. All walks of life, lots of hugs and tears in some of their eyes. Tears of thanks.
It was amazing. It was beyond belief. I have so many new friends, and so many of the new ones, I don't even know their names. But it was just like all weekend long, but it was so overwhelming. My head is still spinning.
Yeah,
and
well,
I feel like it'll spin tomorrow, too, because of tonight at the meetup is going to be amazing, I'm sure.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm trying my best to gently persuade John Stadtmiller to hang around for the meetup tonight.
Ain't happening. Ain't happening, brother.
And Dr. Joel Wallach will be here. Dr. Richard Allen Miller is going to be at the meetup with Dr. Joel Wallach, and we're going to make lots of noise. And I asked him, I said, normally we shut down the meetup at 8:00, and it's going to be a busy meetup, and we'd like to stay a little longer. I remember the meetups when we used to stay till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Remember that?
Oh yeah. I was just glad I didn't have to get up and go to work the next day.
Well, yeah, Jeannie, what was? Can you mention a few of the highlights for you of the expo?
I think I have a Ricky Rocket overload because I was there Friday, and
right.
then Saturday.
You think
and
you
then
do?
The last night.
Do you think you have overload? I had to sleep in the same room with this guy for the last 3 nights.
My sympathies. Richard is like a foreign language. The more you listen to him, the more you can understand. But I'm not.
His new name now
still
is
at
Ricky
the point
Rocket.
where it drops off.
His real name now is Ricky Rocket because he's always going off. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I said
he's
good
a lot
morning
of fun.
to John Regan Sunday morning, I think it was. I said, "Good morning, John," and he goes, "Good morning." I don't go off like Vince does when I say, "Good morning, Vince." And I miss John and Becky so much, and it was so good to get to see him. I'm so glad he could come.
Well, yeah, you're going to see John Regan tonight, and we're all excited about that.
Yeah, I'm sitting here taking up time.
What do you mean we're not going to see you tonight? No. What do you mean?
He's talking without a microphone.
Give him the microphone.
Yeah, it'll make a bunch of noise.
Yeah, that's okay. What do you...
I got his headphones.
Yeah, well, he needs his headphones. We just went into a break. Hey, John, what were we going to say? We're going into a break, John. Say it. What do you mean we're not going to see you? We are going to see you.
I'm going to be heading home after the show today.
You serious?
Yeah.
I'm pretty bummed out. Okay. All right. Well, I guess you're not going to see John Regan. Okay.
Oh, well.
All right. We're going into a break, and we'll be back after these few short commercial announcements.
The human body is extraordinary. Despite all the stresses we inflict upon it, it still works hard to stay in balance. Thousands upon thousands of people rely upon Heart and Body Extract to help their body stay balanced. This excellent 100% natural herbal formula helps maintain healthy blood pressure levels, cleans arteries, promotes good circulation, balances cholesterol, and more. HB Extract, paired with healthy lifestyle choices like good nutrition and exercise, can give you a life free of pain, sickness, and fear. Recapture your youthful vitality and experience your body healing itself with the aid of HB Extract. It's extremely effective and it starts working in just days. Visit hbextract.com to learn more and to read scores of testimonials from satisfied customers. And we've never increased our price in over 10 years. That makes Heart and Body Extract as great a value now as it was the first day we sold it. A healthy heart is a happy heart. Call 866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products, most ready to ship same day. Visit The Berkey Guy at goberkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. goberkey.com, home of The Berkey Guy.
Lark in Texas, he's got a grin on his face. Lark in Texas is with us. He's been with us for the Get Prepared Expo, and we're delighted he's stayed at the farm with us. Welcome, Lark in Texas.
Good morning.
Yeah. So, hey, Lark, you're going to be riding back to Texas with John Stadtmiller in a few minutes, and we're going to miss having you around. What a great chef you are! Wow, you made a fabulous breakfast for the faculty here who is staying at the farm. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It was really hard keeping up with Sandy, I have to tell you.
Hey, do you have a reaction to the expo? I'd love to know what your thoughts were.
Vinny, I had a terrible time.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, everybody I met was better prepared than me, smarter than me, nicer than me.
Not true.
I was so humbled. It was actually a lovely experience, and I made a lot of new friends, and
right.
It was quite a shock to me to see people approach me that knew my name. They were total strangers, so that was a new experience for me.
Well, yeah. Well, you've been on the air, and you've been teaching on the air, and then that's what you do. You're not in the comedy aisle of broadcasting. You are in the education aisle. And I want to thank you. I'll tell you one of the reasons why I want to thank you. There are many reasons, but this is just one. What you have decided to do is combat the educational deficiencies in the United States of America by raising the bar of increasing the number of letters in the words that you use. You've gone into polysyllabic words, which people are. It's a stretch for many of us, and we need that. If you talk, I was going to say, if you talk to some people in uniform, most of the vocabulary is 4-letter words, and we need to get them to 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. Don't you think?
Well, at least be aware of them. And even if they're difficult to pronounce, it really just takes minimal effort to learn of these things. And as soon as you learn of them, the question you must ask is, well, how does this school of thought or ideology touch upon my life?
Right.
And why is it significant?
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we extrapolate from that how we can adapt this new knowledge into our own thought processes.
Mm-hmm. And
I think, in turn, be better prepared for what lies ahead and what exists today with the reality.
Lark, as I think back to, yesterday, the day before, and the day before at the Get Prepared Expo, every single person there was concerned. There's a heightened sense of alarm, if you will. People are very, very concerned about the unknown. Not one person there said, hey, things are great. I'm all excited because tomorrow's going to be better than today. It's exactly the opposite. Did you sense that the same kind of thing that I felt? I don't mean to be negative about it, but because they're concerned about it, they want to prepare and survive through it. Is that what you saw, or did you see something different?
No, I had a definite sense of that, and yet a different sense as well. And that is that I always try to remember that people who are caught up in criminal protection rackets and organized crime today really oftentimes have no idea, because we're so compartmentalized in our access to information. And we live in a world that's increasingly one in which the individual is on a need-to-know basis, it seems, particularly if they're attached to any collectivist entity. Mm-hmm. And the same is true of the law enforcement personnel. And so I typically try to just remember the golden rule, no matter who I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. And don't allow people to touch my buttons if I can help it. Mm-hmm. And
So you're not Italian?
I'm just an American. Just an American.
Oh, jeez.
But oftentimes, well, I can't call for backup in many situations when I'm in the field, but somehow they can. So I'm quickly outnumbered.
They bring their backup with them.
Oh, yeah. And nowadays they can, of course, surveil your plates, and they know everything about you.
Yeah.
And that's all part and parcel of what occurred in the early to mid 90s with the communitarian programs like POP and COPS and COMPAS and ABCD, and all tied to the fusion centers.
Hey, we're going into a break. Larkin, Texas. I'm Vin Finelli, USAPrepares.com.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for $35,000. You heard right, that's 5,000 square feet for $35,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100-foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Call 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
So we decided to upgrade the look of our home.
You know, improve the curb appeal.
We decided to add the look of stone to the exterior.
We really like the stacked stone look.
Yeah, but when I checked into the price, it was ridiculous. No way could we afford it.
Then a friend told me about Genstone. Genstone.
Genstone comes in lightweight panels made of polyurethane. They've actually engineered the hassle out of installation. No mortar, no mesh. It was easy. Even I could do it.
We just screwed the panels to the wall and it looks like stone. I mean, it really looks like stone.
Yeah, from the box to the wall in minutes.
We love the look of our home now.
And Genstone is durable, comes with a 25-year warranty, and offers additional R value for insulation.
If you want the look of stone at a price you can afford, call Genstone
at 855-955-STONE.
Trust me, you'll save money.
And you'll love the look.
855-955-STONE. That's 855-955-7866.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized money from your bank account, you need to get professional tax help now. Fast action is required to put a halt to these aggressive IRS collection tactics. You can count on the knowledgeable team of tax professionals at Wall & Associates. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has settled the tax problems of thousands of taxpayers for a small fraction of what they owed. For a free face-to-face consultation, call 1-800-425-4610 to put a wall between you and the IRS. 1-800-425-4610 or look for us on the web at wallandassociates.net. We solve tax problems. If you hire Wall & Associates today, you'll never have to talk to the IRS again. To stop the levies and seizures today, take action now. Call Wall & Associates at 1-800-425-4610. Wall & Associates. 1-800-425-4610. Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services.
The freeze-dry guy, leader in the preparedness industry for 44 years, is closing his California warehouse. Don't miss out on this huge warehouse sale and receive discounts from 30 to 40% off on the finest Mountain House and Packaway brand freeze-dried and dehydrated foods for long-term food storage or even everyday use. Plus deep discounts on all in-stock survival gear. The Freeze-Dry Guy is offering a wide selection of freeze-dried foods in number 10 cans and even individually packaged entrees. Remember, meats, vegetables, fruits, and long-range patrol rations are the main components for any long-term food storage. This is limited to stock on hand, so hurry and call 866-404-3663 or 530-798-4414. Remember, as always, free shipping to the lower 48 states. So hurry up and call 866-404-3663 or 530-798-4414. Remember, this is limited to stock on hand. The Freeze-Dry Guy is your choice for survival food in an uncertain world.
Captain John Regan, you can't say we're not prepared. We're running the next EXPO commercials right now, a year in advance. Yeah. So we have finished this year's Expo, and the commercials are still running. So if you're interested in another Expo, we'll keep you posted. John Regan, Lark is next to you. John, what are your thoughts about what you saw at the Expo? Why don't you bring that microphone really close to you? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this Expo was rather different, and it started Friday night. I barely got in before the dinner started Friday night, and I'm walking out of the Expo hall, and pretty much coming my direction is Dr. Richard Allen Miller. And we get a chance to chat for about 5 minutes before the dinner, and you think I drop bad news now and then.
Yeah.
I'm no match for Rick.
Yeah.
And
you're talking about the news he had.
Yeah. And you know, there's a number of reasons why I decided to not go to the meetup tonight. I was originally planning on doing that, but you know, like I say, I am hurting. I do need to get back home, and you know, I do have another crosstown move coming up.
Yeah.
So combined with the news that Rick has, I figure it'd be better for me just to try and get my news to the meetup at another time, because Rick's is so much more important right now.
All right. What we're talking about, class, is that Dr. Richard Allen Miller has some information about climate change. Really abrupt climate change. And he'll be on the air with us on Thursday, and we're going to spend about 2 hours on that, so you do not want to miss that. So we had an extra seminar that we had not planned on for the Expo, and that was last night from 6 o'clock till just about 9 o'clock, 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and pretty serious. So we're going to talk about that tonight at the meetup with Rick Miller, and Dr. Joel Wallach will be with us, and some of your other instructors. So that's tonight at Jimmy's Egg. John Stadtmiller, did you have anything you want to say? You want Lark to leave? Lark, do you have okay, John Stadtmiller is pulling you out of the studio. Do you have any final parting words?
Oh, I just want to say that I'm grateful to John, and grateful to you, Vinny, and to your lovely wife and your family, and all the fine people I met at the Expo. It was a memorable experience, because for the first time, a lot of people got to see my face, and I got to see theirs. And this was really a press the flesh experience that I had been putting off for some time.
Yeah, and it's great to have you here. You know, it's really interesting. Mrs. Finelli brought in a case of microphones. So John Stadtmiller just opened the case of microphones. He was pulling Lark out of the studio. He grabbed a microphone.
It's in my blood.
You just couldn't resist, right? You saw a microphone and said, "Where's my chair?" So all right. So we've got to get you a cable now. So
I already got that.
You got a cable?
Oh.
All right. Let's plug it into the mixer. What? Boy. Okay. So Lark, please continue while we work on this.
Well, and then, of course, having dinner here at the farm and breakfast at the farm was a lot of fun. You remember, a city slicker like me doesn't get to hear a rooster crow at 4:30 in the morning. And and I'm not used to a zoo like we have here between the people and the animals and the pets and all the calves in the pasture. It was quite a sight to see.
Yeah, you know, I kind of feel sorry for Vincent, because when he goes to a 3-ring circus, it's got to seem slow compared to what life is like here on the farm.
Oh, indeed. I mean, this guy is a major domo wherever he steps foot. But, you know, I was impressed with Sandy, his wife, who was really like the Energizer Bunny. Always with a smile on her face, and she still has not stopped since about 4 this morning. So, I'm quite impressed with, really all of that. And, But otherwise, soon we'll have John with some parting shots, and then he's going to whisk me out the door, and we're on our way back to Texas. And I can't say enough about the time that I had down here, and the wonderful people, the contact information that I exchanged, and I was particularly delighted at the end of my presentation that a lot of new friends came to join me at the front there, and because it looked to me as if they were genuinely interested in what I had to say, and that was really touching. And what I try to convey is that I wanted more young people to get this information because they have fresh minds and they're curious, and they'll take the ball and take it forward.
And I mean, it's just so hard to, yeah, I've been to 6 of the 7 expos, and you saw how many seminars there are, and it's not like there's a bunch of fluff out there. There's a lot of good information, and it was even like during some of the time slots I was there, you know, gee, I'd kind of like to go to this seminar, but I have to be somewhere else. And I guess in some ways it's almost overwhelming because there is a lot to do, but I try to, step back and, say to people, you just gotta take it step by step. You can identify what you need to do, what you need to get, the skills you need to acquire, prioritize it. And, it's kind of like, eating an elephant, you do it one bite at a time. And speaking of elephants, how do you like Vince's dog?
Oh, the Mastiffs. I especially like TJ. He's the youngster. And, cause he reminds me of my own, half German Shepherd, half, Lab. But, yeah, he was just wonderful. All the dogs. I don't know that they've given the rooster and the chickens a name, but I wouldn't be surprised.
That rooster. Okay, John Stadtmiller, your microphone should be live right now. That rooster was given to us by John Dollarheight. He came to a meetup and he said, "This is for you." And it was a computer box, a tall tower box, and in that box was this rooster. And you said 4:30 this morning he started? He's pretty late. Normally he starts up around 3:30 and he winds up all the other animals and then they start. So we get the barking and the chickens, early in the morning. So let's see. We got it now. Got it. Yep. Your mic is hot.
Woohoo.
Hi, John Regan.
We now have a 3-way in the studio.
Hey, Vince Finelli.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah. So, that was kind of interesting. So we needed to get some microphones and some cords and get it all running while we're live on the air. That was a lot of fun. It's kind of what the expo was like, right?
and it got done.
Yes. I was thinking that the expo for me was controlled chaos at best. That's kind of how it was for me.
I just enjoyed sitting back and watching you run around like a chicken with your head cut off. Speaking of chickens, that was a lot of fun.
So, John, who did you meet that you found interesting, whom you have not met in the faculty?
Ricky Rocket. I interviewed John Regan. John, when did I interview you?
I think that was back November, December.
Oh, okay. Was it that long ago?
I believe it was.
All right. Well, time flies when we're having so much fun.
When Ricky walks into a room, everything changes. I mean,
you think?
And for those who have a chance to come to the meetup tonight, they're going to see Ricky without restraint. I mean,
oh my God!
Seriously,
he's a combination. He is Mike Maw fused with Vince Finelli. If you could imagine that.
Now, you have to explain who Mike Maw is, for those who are new to the class.
Oh, Mike Maw? Well, you know him better than I do. I've never interviewed the guy on the air, but I've met him up here several times at your expos.
Yeah.
Comes up from Guatemala.
Yep.
came and shot the hell out of the house, and most of the occupants here. That much I know. You still have the scars to prove it. I've seen them. He is just a very interesting man that is, I don't know his full background, and I think he'd have to kill me if I did know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he's very, very, very interesting guy. He can teach self-defense like nobody I've ever seen.
Right.
He is, if there is the master of gunmanship, he is one of them.
Yeah. Did you meet Ed Mailer?
Ed Mailer.
Yeah, he's our Apache.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was telling us the story about how he was in Springfield, Missouri, and the SWAT team showed up because he had a sword. He's a knife maker. He makes knives. He makes Damascus steel, and so he had this sword hanging from his belt, and the cops came, and they gave him a hard time, told him he couldn't have a knife, longer than 5.5 inches. And he said it was 23.5 inches. And they said if he didn't take it off, they were going to arrest him. And he told them, no, they're not going to arrest him. And they said, yeah, we are. He said, you have no idea what this thing does to body armor. And they said to him, are you threatening us? And he said, oh, no, sir. Apaches never threaten anybody.
White man.
So he won't go to Springfield. He will not go to Springfield. He won't go to a gun show in Springfield. So, it's really interesting how we all come to these independent decisions that are so similar. I won't go to Springfield for an expo either.
What a conflagration of characters.
Yeah, and it's not like we planned it. We just, we meet each other and we go, yeah, me too. I'm Vincent Finelli of USAPrepares.com. As most of you know, I broadcast weekday mornings on GCN from 9 to 11. And I'm also a full-time farmer. Add to that mix the weekly meetups and the Get Prepared Expo, and this combination makes for a demanding schedule. On the farm, we raise grass-fed Black Angus cattle and provide them with the best variety of summer and fall grasses available. Our cattle are exposed to the extremes of weather, the toxins in the air, and the electromagnetic radiation that's all around us. So even the best grasses and food that we provide are not enough. Our cattle require minerals and supplements for strong health and resistance to disease. And so do we. For these reasons, my mother, our children, Mrs. Finelli, and I all take Youngevity, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, De-Stress, Glucogel, and EFA+. USAPreparesTeam.com. And thank you for being in class today.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com today.
It's happening again. The feds are trying to ban your freedom to own body armor. In January, a newly introduced bill, H.R. 378, will take away your right to buy Level 3 and higher body armor. Katie Armor offers the most affordable Level 3 body armor packages on the market today. Protect yourself. Buy your body armor now before it's too late. Go to katiearmor.com. That's CATI armor.com. Come and take it.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
This is your captain, John Regan, here at the Funny Farm with Vincent Finelli, John Stadtmiller, and Larkin, Texas. We're, I think, all a little post-expo syndrome here.
Thank you.
Your mic is on.
All right. Funny Farm, did he say?
The Funny Farm.
I represent that.
You know, I think we're all kind of worn out, right?
I'm over the high side, man.
Are you really?
Yeah. I'm in a twilight zone someplace.
Yeah.
I am another person today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's good to see you.
Well,
it really is. And
it's good to be alive.
Yeah. And I took the keys out of all the tractors.
Well, and you know what? I told your wife what you had said, and I said, well, you tell Finelli if he doesn't put the keys back in the tractor, I'm not bringing his favorite coffee up to him. How do you like them beans?
Yeah, I think our class knows the story about the tractors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, John Regan, what kind of bad news do you have for us?
Let me go ahead and say that for past the top of the hour. I want to, jump back into the Dr. Richard Allen Miller thing.
Okay.
Because you're using comparisons to other instructors that some of our class may not have met and can't really totally relate to.
Okay.
But there is a little bit of a more mainstream cultural reference for those of you that have seen the TV show Fringe.
Yeah.
You have Walter, who's the almost mad scientist on that show. And he and Rick are similar in a lot of ways.
That is Rick. It really is Rick. That one of the things that I hear about Rick a lot, and we can talk about him because he's on the one floor down from us.
Yeah, I had to chain him up down in the basement.
And people say, boy, I just love Richard Allen Miller. He's great. I just don't know what he's saying.
He is high energy.
I love it. I love listening and learning. I just don't get it. Isn't that true?
And that happens a lot when you have PhDs.
Yeah.
What's he have a pile high and deep in?
He's a physicist.
Oh, okay.
He's an anesthesiologist.
Okay.
And he was involved with the U.S. Navy, and he was involved with chemical experimentation. And he decided that he wasn't going to mess around with those guys anymore because he didn't like what they were doing. A lot of us had jobs back in the 80s, and we were kind of compartmentalized, and we built things for corporations, and we thought, we're doing the right thing because our company needs this. And we didn't really understand all of the long-term ramifications. When for example, the personal computer comes out and everybody thinks it's a pretty cool toy. Now it's used to spy on us. They build servers with them and they're used to house data and spy on us and use them for license plate scanners. And, it's endless.
Oh, hell, so, I'm getting depressed.
Yes. Well, what I'm saying is, and that happened with Rick Miller. He was involved in some experimentation and he realized.
Was he the tester or the testee?
Both.
Oh, gosh.
All the above.
Oh, man.
Yeah. All the above.
Well, I got to have this guy on the air.
Yeah.
You know what? We're coming up on break. How long before break here?
Couple minutes.
Okay. I'm going to get out of here.
All right.
I'll turn it back over to Captain John and Dr. Finelli over here. And I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate you putting me up at the house here, putting up with me.
We're not putting up with you. We love you here. And by the way, I want to thank you for putting USAPrepares.com on Republic Broadcasting Network.
Which they can't hear today.
Yeah, you have a technical difficulty, and that's why you're racing back to Texas from Missouri to do that. But
and I hope I don't get a speeding ticket going back like I had one coming up here.
Well, just go 5 miles per hour under.
Well, no. Mach 3 with my hair on fire, but this time I'll make sure the radar detector is on. Right, Lark? Hey, Vince, thank you very much. Captain John, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Lark in Texas, John Statmiller, thanks for being with us. And John Regan and I will be right back after these few short commercial announcements and top-of-the-hour news. I'm Vin Finelli.
Hi, Coast to Coast listeners. I'm Kay Zwirling from KSCO Radio in Santa Cruz. I'm 93 years old, and I'm a big fan of George Norrie because his topics and guests are fascinating and really get you thinking. George is just as bothered as I am by all the advertising you hear for toxic prescription drugs that make you sicker, not healthy. I prefer to give my body all 90 essential nutrients it needs for life to prevent disease, not compound it. My favorite complete supplement is Beyond Tangy Tangerine from Longevity, which I take every day along with EFA Plus and Beyond OsteoFX, which together are called the Healthy Start Pack. I recommend you go online to criticalhealthnews.com to purchase these products. That's criticalhealthnews.com or call 855-949-RADIO.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized money from your bank account, you need to get professional tax help now. Fast action is required to put a halt to these aggressive IRS collection tactics. You can count on the knowledgeable team of tax professionals at Wall & Associates. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has settled the tax problems of thousands of taxpayers for a small fraction of what they owed. For a free face-to-face consultation, call 1-800-425-4610 to put a wall between you and the IRS. 1-800-425-4610 or look for us on the web at wallandassociates.net. We solve tax problems. If you hire Wall & Associates today, you'll never have to talk to the IRS again. To stop the levies and seizures today, take action now. Call Wall & Associates at 1-800-425-4610. Wall & Associates. 1-800-425-4610. Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal service.
We live in a complicated society. Stressful issues are always popping up. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone? Have you ever been overcharged for a repair? Have you ever signed a contract or a document? Worried about identity theft? How many times have you been in those unique situations where you just wanted to call an attorney to find out if you're right or wrong, or what your legal rights are? But every time you think about calling an attorney, what do you think about first? That's right. Who do you call, and how much will it cost? Our friends at Legal Shield have found a solution. With a nationwide network of 6,900 attorneys who average over 19 years of experience, Legal Shield's law firms take over 40,000 calls per week helping their members. For less than $20 per month, you can have access to Legal Shield on everything from the trivial to the traumatic. Let Legal Shield stand up for your rights at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com. Or call 855-340-SAVE, 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
Watch the greenbacks tumble. Everyone all set? Cocked, locked. Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. In the studio, Captain John Regan. Captain John Regan, I really want to thank you for all that you do for USAPrepares.com and what you've done for the Get Prepared Expo. Everybody loves meeting Captain John Regan. And, I was walking around the expo, and your seminar was on, and it just started. And this woman ran up to me. She said, "Where's Captain John Regan?" I said, "Right back there." And so she raced over him, and that wasn't the first time. It happened many times. People wanted to know where you were, and they wanted to say hello to you and hear what you had to say. And I need to thank someone very special as well. Someone who did so much for the Get Prepared Expo. Someone who the Get Prepared Expo would not have been an event without her help. And that's Mrs. Finelli. And some of the things that she did, for the weeks leading up to the expo, feeding the cows very, very early in the morning, handling 1,000-pound bales of hay and picking them up with the front with a front end loader and moving bales around the barn. And I even saw her driving the backhoe seriously. She doesn't typically do that, and we needed to get some work done, and I was on one tractor, and we needed to do it quickly. Next thing I know, she's in the backhoe, and so she was really, really, really busy, and she was taking care of dinners and the myriad of things that happen at the expo, people needing to know where things are, people needing help, and it's just the amazing amount of coordination that she can accomplish. And she can, well, our children have said that she can do 7 things at once, and actually I think she can. So I want to thank my roommate, my wife, and best friend, Mrs. Finelli. We've been working together for a long time, and I first met her in 4th grade when I had a crush on her. So I've known her for a very, very long time, and I'm very, very fortunate. So thank you, Mrs. Finelli, for all that you've done for the Get Prepared Expo and USA Prepares radio broadcast and the farm and everything else that you do. John Regan, let's take today's class. What are we going to learn?
This is everything that I normally do to get ready for Monday mornings didn't happen this week.
Right.
In fact, I'm sitting here naked in the studio. It's the first time I'm doing a transmission without my computer on.
Yeah, right.
Every other time I've been on the air with you, I've had my computer with lots of information, and of course, I got a couple pieces of paper in front of me, so I've got some notes to work from, and they're just as scary as what's on my computer.
All right, let's do it.
Well, this past weekend, I talked about a little recap of the financial state of the union. For those that don't have the book, it is available through Amazon.com. And to just kind of summarize the really, really big points out of there is we have these unfunded liabilities for our social insurance programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. And the problem is so big that it would take more than all the money in the world to fix. And I think that is enough to get people's attention. But at that point, I think they're thinking, well, we didn't get into this problem overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. There's got to be some way that we can, raise taxes or lower expenses and work our way out of this. Well, the problem is it would take more than 100% of all income to keep from going further in the hole. And that is the structural problem that we have. And as I left it in the book, quite often I get the question, how long do we have? Well, on the one hand, with the derivatives, pretty much all that has to happen is to have the interest rates go back up to anywhere near normal. And that starts derivatives rolling downhill as well as crashing the bond market. So that can happen at any time, but that still doesn't address the structural problem we have. And I worked through that and came up with some numbers that give us some boundaries on where to work on. I did cover that on the air before, where I took our income from the IRS tax stats, government spending, and interest only on the nearly or roughly $60 trillion of the total debt America owes. And at current growth rates, you run that out, and we don't have enough income just to cover government expenses and interest by 2027. And obviously, we can't go that long before things will fall apart. So I pulled a couple of numbers because the IRS tax stats doesn't include 100% of Social Security. So I made up the difference of Social Security, which gives us even more income, which is on the positive side. I didn't do anything with government spending, but we don't just pay interest only on our debt. We have to pay some towards the principal. So I just try to use a conservative number there and use 3% of the principal amount. And it was about 10 days ago when I finally had a chance to plug those numbers into the model. And you kind of heard the result there in my voice when you called me up. I mean, the numbers were just devastating because that changed that crossing point, saying that we don't have enough income to cover government spending and debt service by 2020. That's just 5 years from now. And again, that's not everything. You still have to have, personal expenses, food, housing. Well, housing some in the interest, medical care, energy, all those things that, we're used to having in life. And, just for an estimation, I say maybe we can get halfway there. Well, halfway would be somewhere during 2017. And then I look at history, and you can pull up a chart on the Weimar Republic if you want to look at that. But it's pretty consistent when you see a country or, something like the Roman Empire, that when they reach the end point, there's about a 3-year period from where things get unhitched, and then the pain starts increasing at an increasing rate to the point where it finally has its collapse. So if mid-2017 is the end of that 3-year point, that means that things became unhitched sometime last year. And now that I've got that bit of information, I go back and look at all the other information I've collected over these months. And there are people looking at these charts saying, we're kind of in the same position as things were in 2008, with the exception now is the Fed is out of ammunition. And we've got this deflation stuff going on. We've got several of the central banks, with the exception of the Fed, lowering interest rates, trying to get the economy going again. And it's like on and on and on. There's, all these indicators that to me suggest that the unhitching actually has occurred, which to me would then imply that we are going to see in that increasing amount of pain at an increasing rate over the next 2 to 3 years. So it's time to button down, get serious, prioritize, don't put things off, because if there's things you need to get, I'd say there's a good chance the price on them will go up, and that's if it's available at all.
That was one of the central messages of the Expo, John. I talked about those kinds of things and how to start your business and make sure that your business is a hobby and get what you need before you need it. I mean, those are some of the things that I was talking about as well. But it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just you. There are a whole bunch of us that are feeling that. People are saying that, man, oh man, parts are getting really expensive. So things that new electronics are getting less and less expensive. At least they were. But the parts to fix big machines, where they have us by the throat, where we need these replacement parts, they're going up. And they're getting harder to get. And stores that used to, auto parts stores and farm supply and those kinds of places, don't seem to have the parts that we need that they used to. And I have a feeling it has a lot to do with the cost of holding inventory and the uncertainty that, are they going to sell it? And people just don't want to be holding the bag. They really don't. As a matter of fact, I was talking to one of the men who was exhibiting at the Expo, and he came from pretty far away, and well over 1,000 miles. And I said, so how's it going? He said, I sold out. And he said the interesting thing was, he had a series of products. The highest quality product he had, the most expensive one he had, he sold out of. And that's telling me people really don't want junk. They want durability. They want something that's going to be, that will function for many purposes and will last for a long, long time. That's what I'm seeing. And that's one of the messages. That's a good takeaway message for going forward. Quality, durability, and then, of course, Max's Law. Buy the best, pay cash, and take delivery. What do you think?
Yeah, and yesterday I had 2 seminars, part 1 and part 2 of the Unprepared Prepper.
Mm-hmm.
And for the, I guess the rest of this hour, I'll talk about some of those things that we did there. And
that's great. Yeah, and we need to prepare, John. That's what we were there for. People came from, I'll bet you there were 47 states there, and 4 countries. The farthest country was Israel. Second farthest was Guatemala. Third farthest was Mexico. Well, fourth farthest was Canada, British Columbia, and then, of course, the United States.
There's a man named Dr. Joel Wallach who is anything but your typical doctor, both a veterinarian and naturopathic physician. Doc asks, why does the United States spend more money on healthcare by far and still rank 50th in health and longevity worldwide? He believes that people should empower themselves with a basic understanding of nutrition, take charge of their health, and attain optimal health and longevity through nutrition, not by toxic prescription drugs that lead to side effects and more toxic prescription drugs. Doc Wallach's message is resonating with an increasing number of Americans who are waking up to all the big government, big pharma, and big insurance manipulation of our healthcare system. I'm George Norrie, and I like what Doc Wallach is saying and doing to enlighten people about healthcare. Visit brightsideben.com and listen to Doc Wallach's Deadly Recipes lecture. It makes a lot of sense, and I urge you to join the Brightside Ben team. Go to brightsideben.com. That's brightsideben.com.
Quantitative easing, unemployment at depression levels, Europe financial system falling apart, China getting out of U.S. treasuries. At the end of 2008, the time of TARP, the national debt was at $11 trillion, gold trading around $850 per ounce. Close to 2012, the national debt exceeded $16.4 trillion, gold doubled to $1,600 per ounce. The $20 trillion threshold for the national debt is inevitable. Politicians in Washington have a ferocious appetite for spending and stimulus. What's worse, a printing press to finance. 100 years ago, we had a gold standard to limit this madness, but now you have to adopt your own gold standard. Don't be fooled with paper promises. Get Midas Resources 10 Reasons to Buy Gold free by calling 800-686-2237. Understanding the gold and silver market may be the only insurance you could have to avoiding the next economic crisis. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order your free copy. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
Captain John Regan's with us, and John Regan, we're going to talk about the Unprepared Prepper. You did a couple seminars, 1 and 2, part 1 and part 2, a couple hours of that over the weekend. Tell us about the Unprepared Prepper.
Well, I'm even going to have to modify this a bit because I start out, like I've discussed before, there's really 2 ways we can go from here. We can have this bad economic time followed by a war that, and hopefully that war would take out the tech because we'll be using EMP and similar type technology. Or they, do the nice dictator comes in with all the, sweet rescue talk, and they manage to implement a nice worldwide police state with this extreme spy tech and control and all the measures that they have, like Agenda 21. However, after talking with Rick, I'm thinking we're probably not going to have to worry too much about the tech, and the steps we're going to have to take to get ready are going to probably take a little bit more effort. And I don't want to, 1, take away from his thunder.
So you want to save that for Thursday?
And 2, because, we've got just part of an hour here, and I think Rick's probably going to use a good part of his 2 hours,
right,
discussing that. But, just if you want to get ready for that, you can go, if you haven't watched it, or if you have watched it, I'm planning on rewatching it, the movie The Day After Tomorrow, because he's saying that the science in that is pretty close to what he's expecting to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I've known about this, for over a week, what he's going to talk about on Thursday. And Rick is still unsettled. I mean, he is still not totally come to grips with how massive this climate change is. It's very, very serious. So that class, that's Thursday right here on USAPrepares.com. So what else do you have?
But it doesn't diminish what I have with your considerations for the unprepared prepper.
Right.
And in some ways, it enhances part of it. Because if you look at not having the supply chain, that really changes your life. And it's not like humans haven't lived without the technology before, but in the last 1 to 200 years, with the increasing industrialization and technology we have, we're used to using those tools that many of those won't be available to us. So if you want to get an idea, you can look at the Amish, you can look at, say, the Native American cultures prior to, the Europeans coming over. You can look at some of the native peoples of like Central Asia that are a little bit more nomadic. People lived, in the teepees and the yurts and things of that nature, to give you some ideas of what you can do, the types of skills you need, the community that you need to have around you. And the good news or the bad news at this lower level of technology, if you've got some nice tools, and I'm talking about things like a hand axe, knives for particular purposes, then even just those simple tools will go a long, long way. As you look at the American Indian, they had to make these tools using rocks. So imagine if you've got the nice, stainless steel stuff, you're going to be that much better off. And you don't even have to buy these new. You can, find them online. You can find them in pawn shops. You can find them at, these charitable stores that, these things were donated at. So you don't have to spend a lot of money for this.
I totally agree. And that's kind of how I shop, John. I really do. Captain John Regan's with us, and meetup tonight, class. Meetup at Jimmy's Egg, extra special meetup. Jimmy's Egg is going to stay open longer. Normally 4:45 to 8 Mondays. Well, it's probably going to go 4:45 to 9 or 10 tonight with your instructors at USAPrepares.com. Meetup tonight, Jimmy's Egg, Springfield, Missouri.
For health and vitality for you, your family, and friends, get the Healthy Start Pack from Longevity, as recommended by registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
If you're a junk food junkie, getting on the Healthy Start Pack is one of the best ways to wean yourself off of processed snack foods and start putting good nutrition in your body. If you have a loved one who's dealing with heart disease or any health challenge, the Healthy Start Pack makes a great gift. If you have a grandparent or a parent in a nursing home, you will be amazed at the difference a once-a-day dose of the Healthy Start Pack will make in your loved one's energy levels, in their memory, in their mood, and in their general outlook on life.
Give the gift of optimal health to your loved ones and order the Healthy Start Pack from Longevity by calling 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. Or on the web at brightsideben.com. That's brightsideben.com. Order today.
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and based on a recent study, it was found that 57 million Americans had legal issues over the last 12 months, but only 60% of those studied sought out the services of a lawyer. Why? In a nutshell, affordability. Well, my friends at Legal Shield have created a solution that can help you not if, but when you need an attorney. For as little as $17 per month, Legal Shield will provide you unlimited access to qualified attorneys at an accomplished law firm for advice and counsel on legal issues, no matter how serious or trivial. Shield. For over 40 years and with 1.4 million families across North America, Legal Shield can help you, the loyal GCN listener. Representatives are standing by now to answer your questions, so call them now at 1-855-340-SAVE. That's 1-855-340-7283, or visit them at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com.
Results will vary from case to case.
Mike Stenerson from Midas Resources. At no time in history have precious metals been more important, certainly not in my 22 years in the industry. The dollar has lost over 90% of its value in the last 60 years. No fiat currency has ever survived the government printing presses. Ours is not immune. The time is now to be proactive. 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Anything tied to the dollar is at risk. CDs, annuities, 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, you name it, so decide. Do you want to leave a legacy of wealth or debt for your family? The choice is yours. Call me at 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. That's 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Be proactive, not reactive. Call 1-800-686-2237, extension 116.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized money from your bank account, you need to get professional tax help now. Fast action is required to put a halt to these aggressive IRS collection tactics. You can count on the knowledgeable team of tax professionals at Wall & Associates. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has settled the tax problems of thousands of taxpayers for a small fraction of what they owed. For a free face-to-face consultation, call 1-800-425-4610 to put a wall between you and the IRS. 1-800-425-4610, or look for us on the web at wallandassociates.net. We solve tax problems. If you hire Wall & Associates today, you'll never have to talk to the IRS again. To stop the levies and seizures today, take action now. Call Wall & Associates at 1-800-425-4610. Wall & Associates, 1-800-425-4610. Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services.
Meet up tonight, 4:45 at Jimmy's Egg. John Regan's with us. John, when you were teaching in your seminars at over the weekend at the Expo, did you teach anything that the students said, "Wow, I didn't think about that"?
I think it happened quite often there that you could just see the wheels turning. You know, it's so obvious once it's pointed out,
right?
But until you think about it, it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And just to give an example, start thinking everything that you use, what would you do without the supply chain? It can be simple as, you know, you like to use ketchup with your food.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're not going to be able to go down the store and get a bottle of ketchup, but you can raise your own tomatoes, and it takes a few some salt and some spices in there, and just read the ingredients or get a recipe. And there may be other things that you have to grow or store, and you can make your own ketchup.
Mm-hmm.
That one's relatively simple. There's other things that you may not be able to find substitutes for. I use a lot of Worcestershire sauce in
mm-hmm.
our cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the ingredients, one of the ingredients is anchovies.
Yeah, that's why I don't use Worcestershire sauce.
Well, for better or worse, it's something that I use in a lot of our recipes, and that will just plain go away.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that if you don't think about it, and some of these things, especially in the food area, I learned from Alton Brown, which he had a wonderful show on cable that was entertaining and taught you a lot about food chemistry and history and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what I learned there is, if you look at the spices we use, typically those come from tropical or semi-tropical areas. And when that supply chain goes, access to those go. Now you can store up some of the whole spices mm-hmm. and get maybe at least a good 2 to 3 years out of what you can, and maybe they'll still even have some flavor for a few years beyond that, but sooner or later, that stockpile is going to run out. So things like, cinnamon, you probably use in a number of recipes. It's not going to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so some of these spices we're going to have to grow our own and make sure that we get those heirloom seeds so that we can save them and grow them again and again. And some, you can grow basil in your house. Just get a pot, and with some soil with fertility, and plant some seeds and put it in the sun and make sure you water it. And man, you've got fresh basil.
Yeah, and you probably want to get like a mini lemon tree, because unless you happen to live in that area of Florida, southern Texas, or California where they raise citrus, you may not see that for the rest of your life after the supply chain fails.
Very, very interesting point. I mentioned on the air that we had an orchard and half of it's gone. We had a frost, and then the deer like to eat the bark. And so, you think, well, I'll just put the orchard, out there, far away from the house. Well, the closer it is to the house, the safer it is from predators. Because, and John, we were talking about in my seminar about tax deductions. And, there's nothing that says in any of the literature I've read from the IRS that a security system for your business needs to be electronic. So class, if you need a security system, and it's not just junkyards that use German Shepherds for security. You may want to have a protection animal as well for your security system as a tax deduction. And they need food, and they need supplements, and they need medical attention every once in a while. And so think about that. Back to you, John Regan.
I remember the first time it was at the meetup and announced the unprepared prepper. And I wish I'd been looking at you, but Becky was. And she told me about the look on your face when I said, unless you have at least a ton of salt, you're not a prepper.
Mm-hmm.
And that was simply based on, say you had a small herd of 10 cows and you wanted to have enough salt on hand for 10 years.
Right.
You need a ton of salt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, all right. Okay. Now, did you say you were leaving today?
Yes.
Okay. Before you leave, we're going to take a short, couple 100-foot walk away from your car into the barn, where you will see the result of your advice. There's 1 ton of salt on a pallet.
And, in people's ordinary everyday life, when we say salt, we talk about, the table salt, the sodium chloride.
Right.
And sodium is an important electrolyte for your body. But there are other salts as well, other electrolytes that we need. We need potassium. We need magnesium. These are things that Dr. Shealy has talked about. And you either have to be, I think especially with magnesium, you just need to store up, I'd have to look at the bottle. If you look at magnesium oil, you can buy the dried magnesium product and mix it with water and have the magnesium oil to use, because you want to use that topically, because especially as you get older, you don't absorb it as well. And if you try to take more, you end up with a laxative effect, which you probably don't want to have, especially in bad times.
Right.
The poo might really hit the fan.
Oh, man. Health is really, really important and sleep is important. And when you're under a lot of stress, your mind is, wandering, and it's hard to concentrate, and it's hard to sleep because of worry. And, as we get deeper into this, and as we lose more of our businesses and our homes, and then we lose our spouses because the economic pressures put pressures on the family. John, I'm sorry to say I can't see it getting better before it gets worse.
No, and while you're talking of sleep, let me segue into 4-poster bed.
Right.
it used to be that people, when it came to wintertime, they heated people, not places.
Right.
And if you have a 4-poster bed, you can have a covering over the top and curtains around the side. You might think of, what you typically see in the movies of Scrooge's bed.
Right.
In the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps keep the warmth in, just something from what your body radiates.
Mm-hmm.
And, they had where they would put some coals into this metal box that would help, heat that small space as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, something you probably don't think about because we've got the convenience of central heat, central air nowadays. And it doesn't even have to be, an expensive piece of furniture. You can go out to the hardware store, get the wood and just put the frame around your current bed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So now you can do that setup for wintertime and turn around at summertime. You take that off. So you got a way for air to make it through, but replace it with netting because you're going to have windows open. And sooner or later, you're probably going to end up, especially in Texas with mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting more and more mosquitoes with all kinds of wonderful diseases. Mm-hmm. And you really don't want them to bite you at night.
As you said that, it reminded me of a discussion I had with Mrs. Finelli a couple of weeks ago. And I took her hand and said, let's go for a walk. And we walked through the first floor of the house. And I said, now, this is an arched, doorway with no doors in it. I'm going to need to make some doors I'm talking about to go between the kitchen and the living room downstairs. And the reason is, if we have to heat a smaller area, we're going to need to have doors there. And then I talked about a door at the top of the stairs, going to the second floor. And so we're talking about scaling down with doors so that we don't have to provide heat for the entire house. And you're talking about even going smaller than that, just heating the bed. And, John Regan, it may sound far-fetched. However, that may be a life-saving decision that a person would make. So you might want to think about if you've got that unused room or two down the hall, that, when the children moved out, either have them move back or figure a way of reducing the heat loss from those rooms. I'm serious about that.
And probably ought to talk a little bit about housing, because I'm one of those people that I'm in a rental, and that is not going to be a survivable location. So one of the things that's high on my list is getting something that is survivable and being able to do so without a lot of money. I don't have the resources I used to have. And I would love to have something like the concrete domes. And if you can afford that, hey, that's great. But if you can't afford it, and the resource I can refer to here is in Mother Earth News, they have these earth bag homes where you basically buy these sandbags, which are fairly inexpensive. You get a load of pea gravel, which is fairly inexpensive. You load the bags and you build the house. Now you have a couple of options on that. You can build it more of a square type, normal looking house, or you can make domes out of it, which they're probably not going to be quite as resilient as the concrete dome, but just the structure itself is going to have some strength. And I might also suggest, besides that as a house, using that type of dome structure over the area that you're going to use for your root cellar. And that also makes, in the tornado area, a nice storm shelter. And when you learn about what Rick says, you might want to make that just a little bit deeper and a little bit bigger, because you might need to spend more than a couple of hours in there to escape a storm.
Yeah, he's talking about weeks, at least. And that broadcast will be on Thursday with Dr. Richard Allen Miller. John Regan and I will be right back. I'm Vincent Finelli of USAPrepares.com. As most of you know, I broadcast weekday mornings on GCN from 9 to 11. And I'm also a full-time farmer. Add to that mix the weekly meetups and the Get Prepared Expo, and this combination makes for a demanding schedule. On the farm, we raise grass-fed Black Angus cattle and provide them with the best variety of summer and fall grasses available. Our cattle are exposed to the extremes of weather, the toxins in the air, and the electromagnetic radiation that's all around us. So even the best grasses and food that we provide are not enough. Our cattle require minerals and supplements for strong health and resistance to disease. And so do we. For these reasons, my mother, our children, Mrs. Finelli, and I all take longevity beyond Tangy Tangerine, De-Stress, Glucogel, and EFA+. USAPreparesTeam.com. And thank you for being in class today.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized money from your bank account, you need to get professional tax help now. Fast action is required to put a halt to these aggressive IRS collection tactics. You can count on the knowledgeable team of tax professionals at Wall & Associates. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has settled the tax problems of thousands of taxpayers for a small fraction of what they owed. For a free face-to-face consultation, call 1-800-425-4610 to put a wall between you and the IRS. 1-800-425-4610 or look for us on the web at wallandassociates.net. We solve tax problems. If you hire Wall & Associates today, you'll never have to talk to the IRS again. To stop the levies and seizures today, take action now. Call Wall & Associates at 1-800-425-4610. Wall & Associates. 1-800-425-4610. Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services.
You know, John Regan, 2 hours goes pretty fast.
Yeah, and guess what? We're going to run out of time before I run out of material again.
John, let's talk about water.
You know, one of the big things with preparedness is having water and being able to process it so that you're not harming yourself by drinking the water. And one of the things that changed my point of view on how to do that is I had an opportunity to go visit the Laura Ingalls Wilder home, which isn't too far from here in the Missouri Ozarks. And the front part of the property has the house that Alonzo built for her and the museums there and everything. But we were fortunate they'd opened up the house on the back part of the property. This house was built by her daughter, who was also an accomplished author. And, you know, compared to today's standards, it may not look like much, but back then it was kind of like a little mansion on the prairie.
Mm-hmm.
And this house had a cistern built into it or underneath it. So that was where, you know, they had, you know, the hand pump. So they had, you know, indoor plumbing for getting their water in. And that changed my view on, you know, if I'm looking for property, what do I need? Because like here in the Ozarks, you have to go pretty deep to get good water. And if you don't have electricity, that starts getting to be a problem getting that water out. If you go for surface water, if it's running water, you run some risk of flooding just from that source of water.
Mm-hmm.
And to have that third alternative, which has been used by humans for I don't know how many thousands of years, you have a cistern that stores the rainwater, and combine some of our modern techniques and hopefully you have a little stockpile of your filters that you now have good drinking water. You have water for doing the other things that you need to do around the house, and now you have more of a choice of location where to keep that. And then I also want to just to stick that in the back of your mind, because once you listen to Dr. Miller on Thursday, you may have to make some adjustments on where you would plan to settle that cistern at, so to speak.
8 feet down, literally, because you're going to have to get below the frost line. Captain John Regan, I was thinking about my parents' old house. They bought an old farmhouse on the East Coast. It was built in 1844, and it had a cistern. And this was this brick lined round or cylinder, 8 feet in diameter, maybe 12 feet deep, I guess, with a 4-inch thick slate lid on it. And it was water from the gutters down the downspouts into the cistern, and that was the water supply. And it was still functional from 1840 to today, literally. And it holds water. We had some really neat innovation back then, and we might need to continue using that technology going forward. And the time to think about it is now, right now. What would we do? Because it's easier to dig that kind of a cistern with a backhoe than with a shovel on your back, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, John, there's so many things to think about, and water is really, really important. Did you get a chance to look at the ProPure water filtration system?
A little bit, and I looked at it before coming to the expo, and I actually bought replacement filters so that when it comes time for our monthly cleaning, that we'll be swapping those out.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed about the part of not having to prime them.
Yeah. Well, and that's important because you need water pressure in order to prime some types of filters, but not the ProPure. And class, that's the same one we have, and we'll make them available on the website going forward. Need a couple days to get back into our routine. Meet up tonight at Jimmy's Egg, and Dr. Joel Wallach will be with us, and other instructors will be with us. It'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be we'll go really long tonight. Above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you. And thanks so much, Captain John Regan.
In an unpredictable world, it's good to know you are in control of food, your greatest dependency. Go Foods are storable for 25 years, quick fix, non-GMO, kosher, health store quality food at discount store prices delivered to your door. Go Foods is there when you need it most. Feed Your Frida package is available with up to 3 months of food for free. Call Go Foods at 1-800-648-9753 or on the web at www.storefoodnow.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. cut costs, and get more. 1-855-905-MyTV. 1-855-905-MyTV.